because I wanted to. Let me start by sharing with you something I have shared with Edie and Donna before, and that is a bit of a vision of what I think Clearwater, in the biggest sense of Clearwater, is all about. So part of that is that we are, call it a family, call it a network, which has to extend into grassroots and goes up and down the Hudson. We sit in an office, those of us who work at Hudson River Sloop Clearwater, we sit in an office in Beacon. That is not what Clearwater should be, and that's not what Clearwater is strongest at being. It's a small piece of it. You guys are a big piece also of what Clearwater, as it could be, as are the sloop clubs and associations up and down the river and over in Brooklyn and down in New Jersey. Because if we act together and we have that sense of being part of a common family, and if we combine our vision and our strength and our activities and share the assets we have, then we're an organization that's really very, very powerful, that has the kind of nerve center in Beacon, yes, and the professionals that are employed, but really gets its strength from 5,000 and more members, and from the various sloop clubs, including most notably this one. So how do we do that? Because when I came to Clearwater, I saw that there had been some kind of separation, skepticism, rolling of eyes on both sides when I talked to people from sloop clubs about what we were doing up in Beacon at Clearwater. People kind of said, oh. And then I saw the same thing, frankly, at Clearwater when I talked about the sloop clubs. And I said, this is highly dysfunctional. It cannot be like this. One of the reasons it can't be like this is because the public, we were all involved in the climate march, for example. The public doesn't get the difference between New York City Friends of Clearwater and Clearwater. It's imperative that we get together and have the same message, that coordinate our efforts to be that strong organization with strong grassroots connections that we potentially are. I think that was Pete's vision. I don't think it was having an office in Beacon as being what Clearwater was all about. But I think it became increasingly obvious that we needed to have that kind of centralized staffing and capacity and things like that, so long as it was used as a centralized thing and not as some separate and independent part of the organization. So I've been, from the beginning of my involvement as executive director, been trying very hard to find ways of bringing it together. I'll talk about a couple of things that we've done, and as I think Edie and Donna know, we're always open. I'm always open to learning more ways that we can become stronger and part of the same thing. One is we have a calendar that we put on our website, and we have Facebook notices, and we have email blasts. We've now started to invite you to put your events on those so that people who we reach a wide group, and if you're having a concert or you're having an event or you're having a meeting and you want people to know about it, we have somebody at Clearwater, our organization, who will make sure that gets onto our webpage. We'll make sure that it gets onto a Facebook announcement, and we're here to strengthen you in that way, because the more we do that, the stronger we are as an organization, and frankly, it works for membership for both of us. The other thing is we were asked to give the addresses and contact information for all our members that are in your zip codes. And we agreed to do that too, and we've done that. And all the sloop clubs now up and down the river and over in Brooklyn and New Jersey are able to access that and use it to contact Clearwater members who you want to reach out to and talk to about being local. I don't think there's a conflict in that. I think there's a strengthening in that. I think it brings us more strongly together. And
I think that's a wonderful resource, and we're really glad to have it. And so now we have to reach out to all those people. Yeah.
You have to reach out to those people, and you have to think of what else we can do that makes some sense for you. And We have some things we'd love you to do that make sense for us, and let me just talk about a few of them, and it's kind of all that'll kind of conclude what I wanted to say, but we're glad to have a dialogue with you about other things. So there are a couple of events coming up. One is the weekend before Earth Day. We've already coordinated to be sharing a tent with you guys. So it'll be New York City Friends of Clearwater plus Clearwater in the same tent with the same message. You'll sign up members, we'll sign up members. We're going to try to get Walkabout to come and sing there for everybody. And it's going to be the kind of seamless thing it ought to be, where we're there together with a common with our common message, which has a lot to do with Indian Point and with a lot of other issues that we're all very much involved in. That's one event.
Peter, sorry to interrupt, but I just had a thought.
It's in Union Square on the afternoon of the 19th, isn't that right? Yeah.
That's Sunday, that's Sunday.
Sunday the 19th.
Yeah.
Going forward, if there's a way that we could possibly have like a uniform membership application.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
Clearwater membership application, and which sloop club would you like to join?
Right.
Something along those
Ooh, I like that.
And the other way around.
lines. Because I'm I know from Beacon, we're handing out 2 pieces of paper.
Among other things, it saves trees. That's a great idea. And so that's one event. And then the second event is the Wednesday after, the Saturday after that, which is the 25th of April. This is something we're doing, which I've told Edie and Donna about, and I want to be sharing with the rest of you. We're going to have, I think for the first time, a real kind of Earth Day concert by Clearwater, which we're going to be doing in Yonkers at the big church in Getty Square. It happens to be called St. John's. And the concept in that concert is not the usual list of folk singers that we have at almost everything. And it's not trying to get within budget to try to get a name that we can barely afford to pay for and we don't know how it's going to produce. What we're doing instead is looking at cultures that around the world that relate closely to the earth and nature. Bringing the music and dance of 3 of those representative cultures, mixed with some poetry, and probably an MC who's relevant to this too, to a concert celebrating the earth. So, for example, New York, there's a famous group called the Thunderbird Dancers, which are really Native American dancers. They're going to be there. There's one of my favorite subway groups called Agua Clara, which interestingly means Clearwater. And Agua Clara is an Andes group with the pan flutes and the guitar-like stringed instruments and the percussion and some vocals, and they'll be there. And then there's a very well-known West African dancers, a group that does dancing and singing and drumming and celebration of the earth and celebration of other cultural things. That will be there, 4 singers and 2 dancers. And some poetry, as I said, and some other things. And I think it's going to be a wonderful kind of new way of doing a concert for Clearwater, which is to do it as a theme rather than trying to track by individual performers, although some of these people, a lot of people will have heard of. And that's the evening of April 25th, Saturday. And I invite you to, within the capacities of this organization, to figure out how you can support that. Maybe come to the concert, maybe help us when we're at Union Square, sell tickets to it, or publicize it. Maybe you can let word be out on your own mailings and Facebook things saying what, and website, talking about the concert and what we can do. And this be a good example of where you're helping, the cause that way. The third thing, and I'll get you information on it, I'll probably email as it gets closer. We have 1 or 2 more details to work out about the concert, but it's looking really promising. Let me mention Yonkers, and I'll do that later. Okay, next, yes.
Do you have any kind of literature? I'm going to a major LNG Port Ambrose meeting in the Rockaways on Monday night to watch the.
It probably won't have it by Monday night. Maybe I could email some description about just generally the concert and who the musicians are.
Just throw together, just a simple.
If I can get your email before I leave, I can do that
Yeah.
for sure. It's not, I'm kind of like waiting for some of the details, and one of them is potentially a very big one about who our MC is going to be. And,
I don't need that.
no, you don't. No, not if there's a chance to publicize it. Okay, then the next thing is, we decided, for a number of reasons, to reinstitute the pumpkin sale. And for those of you that haven't been around for pumpkin sale before, it's a 2-week sale that starts up in the Albany area and works its way, the Clearwater works its way down the river, carrying pumpkins, although we're going to cheat a little bit and have them actually delivered to the piers also, and musicians. And they stop in various places on the way down. The kids come down, and there's all kinds of craziness going on the docks, from jugglers and storytellers to music and fun and educational stuff, tours of the boat. Yes, Ken?
I just wanted to point out that there's an active member of New York City Friends of Clearwater that has an environmental radio show on WKAL. And you should take advantage of that.
I
as much
would
as you
love
possibly
to. I would
can,
love to.
Which Clearwater hasn't been doing.
I really relish that invitation. I will do it personally, or we'll get the right person if I'm not. That's
The
terrific.
guy everybody's laughing at right now.
Where?
Donald loves to do that stuff, yes.
I have one of the pumpkin sale cookbook from the mid-1970s.
Wow.
Wow.
So, and then we bring food. We get donations of food that we bring down the river. And in 3 or 4 of the bigger cities, we will have concerts associated, not just dockside entertainment, but actual indoor concerts, and New York will be one of them, of course. Really looking forward to doing that and reviving that custom.
So that's
Oh,
the
that
end
is
of October?
wonderful.
It's actually the first 2 weeks, probably.
First 2 weeks.
Well, we'll get the specific dates soon, but, yeah, we have to be safe and be able to pull out of the water by the last, so it'll probably be the first 2 weeks of October. Okay. So those are the 3 events then. There's sharing with you on Union Square. There's the concert in Yonkers, and then there's the pumpkin sale.
And tomorrow from 2 to 6, an open boat in Kingston.
Oh, there is an open boat in Kingston if anybody wants to go up there tomorrow. It's going to be a great event.
Take a train up to Poughkeepsie, I'll give you a ride.
So 2 other things I wanted to talk about, at least that are on my mind right now, of things you should be aware of. One is Yonkers. The city of Yonkers, well, actually to be accurate, the Business Improvement District, the downtown waterfront Business Improvement District of Yonkers approached us and I think said something very, very sensible, which is we can create a win-win. If the Clearwater is docked here more, it'll be great for you, it'll be great for us, and therefore we're going to pay for your dockage, we're going to give your crew an apartment, we're going to give your crew showers at a local health club. We are going to give you electricity. We're going to publicize what you do because it'll be great for Yonkers. And it'll cost us almost nothing, and it'll be great for you, the way we read it. And we said, it sure will be. You know, they've got the science barge there. They've got the BZAC Center, and they have hopes, which we would love to participate in, will participate in Yonkers kind of a special little center for environmental education having to do with the river, and we are going to call it a home port. So it'll be our second designated home port. The first one is Kingston, where we winter, and we're going to be in Yonkers quite a bit. Easy access from New York City too, which is wonderful. And we'll be doing, when we're docked there, we'll be doing concerts and the dockside activities and boats, deck tours of the boat, and environmental education and that kind of stuff.
Dock near where the science barge is?
Right there, right next to it, around the inside of the other dock, yeah.
Great place.
That's right near the Yonkers train station.
It's right at the train station.
And right there is associated right next to BZAC, and
Mhm.
between BZAC and the science barge is a Yonkers, YPRC, Yonkers Drawing and
That's right.
the New Code, and I'm
The-
associated with that.
And they're going to be part of this
And
too, and we're
absolutely.
going to make this really great. And then the new brewery there said, please use our place for parties, and I think it's going to be,
Yeah, right.
it's going to be a really nice thing for us. We said we'll try to be there like 32 or more days a year with free dockage and the protected dock that they're going to give us. And I'm thinking it's going to be great. So I wanted you to know about that because it's near here. And then the next news, which you've heard about a little bit maybe if you've been reading the press, is for us one of the most exciting things ever, and I hope for you guys too, and that is that the Hudson River Park Trust has finally made a decision about what they want to do with Pier 26, which is in Tribeca. And they want to make it into a river study and river celebration pier. And they've given 3 groups the contract, if you will. It's not a contract yet, but the approval to develop that area and that building there. And those 3 groups are Clarkson University and Beacon Institute, which is part of that. The New York Hall of Science, which is based out in Queens and Flushing Meadows, and really is an amazing place, I think. And Clearwater. So we will be docking in Manhattan again for free, and again with cruise quarters and all that, in a very big way, and we will be part of this center which is going to be attracting people and families to study the river, to enjoy it, to feel the fish, and to do all kinds of things like that. What's that? We'll be docking there quite a bit.
Haven't settled on a name yet.
The place? I can, we're thinking probably the Living River Center.
The Living Riverside.
I like that.
Center.
The Living River sounds great.
We're thinking.
Sounds nice, it's very poetic.
And estuarium is a made-up Latin word. That's what they kind of wanted us to use, and it's not doing it for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, everybody would say, when I told them about the estuarium, they
You have
said,
to
what's
ask
that?
Yeah,
what
would you want to
that
take your
is.
grandchildren to that?
Yeah.
But the Living River Center sounds kind of nice, and we may get Pete Seeger's name in there somehow too, because they're all willing to do that.
Dedicated.
Yeah, something like that. So that's going to be a really interesting thing. It's going to give us a presence that we've never had really before in New York, and the presence we now have at 79th Street, basically the way we usually dock there, you have to get past a chain link fence, which is not what Clearwater is all about. And this will be much more accessible and much more fun, and we can do concerts there or dockside entertainment. There's going to be a specific place to do that facing out to the water so the noise doesn't come back to the town, and with appropriate sound restrictions so that we don't run into alienating the neighbors there. And it's going to be 3 or 4 years at least until this is really up and running, although, so 2 things. That pumpkin sale, now things start fitting together. The pumpkin sale, we're planning to dock and have a concert in Yonkers on the way down. And then we're thinking that maybe the first arrival of the Clearwater at Pier 26 at the very end of the pumpkin sale, and make a big event out of it, in which we'd love your support and help and logistical support and that kind of thing. So that's it. That's kind of a report from what we're up to, and a perspective on how we hope you guys are involved and we're involved with what you're doing.
That
There you
sounds
go.
wonderful. It sounds like there's plenty for us to get involved with.
Thank you.
I must say that you are a breath of fresh air compared to what we've had the last, long as I can remember.
well, thanks.
My organization's almost 7 years now. And you have been responsive to the sloop clubs where it never has happened before. You've been open to suggestions.
Thank you.
I really appreciate everything that you're
Thank you.
reaching out to us.
Well, yeah, and I just want to say again, it's not out of the goodness of my heart. I really believe this is the way we can all be stronger. It's not because I'm a nice guy. It's because I really want to accomplish our common goals, and I want us to do it in a way that's consistent with our common values.
And I think, like you were suggesting, it's what Pete would have wanted.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Any other? Yeah.
Oh, can we have a question?
Yes, of course.
Just, at the Pier 26, will there be, even though the boat won't be there all the time, will there be a staff presence?
Yes, and probably year-round. So we'll be able to do educational programs, dockside, maybe dipping into the water and sampling, get the kids to test it and things like that. We'll be doing, when the boat's not there, there'll be indoor and outdoor educational programs. Basically, we're going to be, the way they're talking about it now, Clearwater as an organization, which means the way I think you and we will be involved in what goes on outside the building. So that's the boat, and it's the dockside around the building. That'll be our basic area of influence. And yeah, of course, we want to be doing stuff all year. And I think also it's an opportunity. I don't know if you've been to New York Hall of Science. Have you seen it? It's quite an interesting
It's a fun place.
place. Yeah,
Yeah.
they do a good job. They don't know a lot about the Hudson, and they're very good at displays. This is going to give their expertise of displays and interactive things for kids. They do some marvelous things with kids. And our expertise on the river and education of kids on the river. I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot of cross-pollination, and we share programs, and we do things that are Clearwater and New York Hall of Science together, especially for kids.
That was the original
Right.
site of our boathouse. So we went down there, and so that's one of the 3 boathouses I'm associated with.
Yeah,
It was moved from Pier 40.
right.
No,
where it
no,
used to be on
it
Pier
was
40.
But now it's
Pier
26.
I went to the Titan twice last summer. It was wonderful. So that's another group of people that just.
Well, our concept for Pier 26 is that it is not going to be a closed environment. It's going to be an open environment where all kinds of activities that have to do with the river that put people on and in touch with the river ought to be encouraged. And Pier 25, which is next to it, is another piece of real estate, if you will, that is going to be probably a place where historic replicas and historic boats would time.
That's where the boat is now. There's historic boats on Pier 25 now. I went to a wedding on one recently. Famous boat. It's got a flower name or something.
I don't know, do you know?
Lilac. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I don't know.
And so, yeah, lilac.
So they're going to do that, and we're now looking at technology. We have a problem, as a wooden boat particularly, but anybody would. Just docking up there is dangerous, and it's dangerous for our boat, and it's dangerous for people on the boat because of the wakes and the waves. It gets smashed up against the pier. So we're looking at wake quelling technologies, and we're looking at putting in something even this summer, and other people are saying they'll foot the bill for that so that we can safely dock there and stay overnight early. But that's not cheap. I don't think the South Street Seaport is connected to Pier 26. It's, I mean, I don't think it's politically or
Yeah.
organizationally connected, so.
And going around Barnum and Manhattan is going to be it's pretty rough, pretty much for work.
What is it, Ellen's where they have that school where they're like putting in oyster beds and all those kinds of things? So that might be interesting to
Sure would be.
somehow get them on board. because
And the,
they have a
what is it,
college there.
10,000 oysters program? Million oysters
Yeah.
program?
So they're
We're
working on
we're
this-
talking to them.
Okay,
And,
good.
yeah, I mean,
It seems a natural
yeah,
relationship.
I just want to say, in fairness, that a lot of the very basic decisions haven't been made yet. And it's not even clear who gets to make them, whether it's going to be the Park Trust that makes them, or the DEC, which managed the money in the first place, or Clarkson, which is the major university, which is going to be the major partner in terms of signing agreements.
And checks.
Yeah, and checks. Well, let me tell you this, for example, so you know what that's all about. It's no secret. The Park Trust had $10 million to give out to do this. And that would probably pay for about half of what needs to be done for that building and stuff. And Clarkson has said they'll come up with the remaining $10 million, and has also said they'll cover operating costs, so Clearwater is not exposed at all to financial loss for getting involved in this. And it's from a very forward-thinking president of Clarkson who says the better this is, the stronger this is, the better it is for all of us and each of us. And, you know, when I said to him, would that mean you'd be willing to bring a Woods Hole there or Columbia University? And he said, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it'd be great, it'd be great. So that's the attitude. And
Hudson River Sloop Trust put up $10 million?
they didn't get it themselves. They got it from the state.
Oh, okay.
But they were designated as the agency that would put out the RFP and decide who gets it.
The organization that sold off a piece of land
Yeah.
in Spectrum, so.
I hate to say this because I know we could talk a lot
Yeah,
more
but
about
this
this.
is
It's a
it.
very exciting project, but we're getting
Okay.
a little behind schedule on all
Okay.
the other things.
Well,
that we
thank you
wanted to
very
say.
much.
So I want to thank
Thank you,
Peter
Edie,
Gertzman
and
for
thank you all.
coming down.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Let's switch with them.
And
I'm gonna do a
what I
slideshow.
want to do now, Tiger had mentioned just briefly about because I wanted to. Let me start by sharing with you something I have shared with Edie and Donna before, and that is a bit of a vision of what I think Clearwater, in the biggest sense of Clearwater, is all about. So part of that